Hi, my name's Sean Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek, of YouTube and Twitter. And if you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving. And if you don't, I hope you enjoy your weekend. And welcome to Avatar The Last Podcasters. Chris, how are you doing? What are you up to? Do you celebrate and or care about Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I care about Thanksgiving. Um, I feel like a lot of American holidays is like always. I think too much about American history. But Thanksgiving, I always celebrate Thanksgiving. I mean, really, Thanksgiving have turned into a time just mostly about spending time with family and stuff, and that's the essence of that. Although I'm not visiting my family this year, not doing really anything for Thanksgiving. But
Will you be
happy
with your
Thanksgiving.
family? You'll be
Sure,
with,
yes.
yeah. You're like, oh yeah,
No,
those people that
I
I
am,
live with.
no, I'm going on a solo adventure.
So I like Thanksgiving for a number of reasons because I like food and I like football, and I also like it when holidays fall on the same day of the week every year, so they're easy to plan. That's very important to me. And no, I can't say most. Uh, like three of my four adult job companies, have given me the Friday off afterwards. It's a big weekend that I can count on, and I really like that. So several things playing in Thanksgiving, and gratitude. It's always good to show gratitude for stuff. So I like Thanksgiving, actually, maybe disproportionately more than one might expect, considering my attitude to other holidays. But anyway, what else have you been up to?
Been working, getting back into some custom action figure stuff. Right now, I'm working on a. So there's a new Batman comic, and it's like an alternate world where Batman is like, I don't know, 7 foot tall, and he's kind of shaped like the Hulk, and really cool comic book. And I want to make a custom action figure out of it. And so I have this. I bought this Hulk action figure. It's actually a really cool action figure. It's probably like $40, but I got it somewhere for like 15 or something. Thinking to myself, oh, I could use this one day for a custom. Don't know what yet, but so it's just been sitting around. And I was like, oh, this is a good opportunity. And then I have a random Batman head that I can put on it. So this may only reason why I don't want to use this is because it's freaking huge. Like it is like this is like average size of an action figure, and this would be like just really like
He
this
is.
person would be
He's a thick boy.
like 10. He would be like 10, maybe 9 feet tall.
I'm gonna say nine, given
And
that it looks like two full solid,
heads above,
and maybe
somewhere
no,
around.
maybe some. Yeah, I'm gonna say 9 feet. That looks like a 9 foot proportion.
And then it's like, do I want to make a 9 foot Batman? But also who cares? Like,
I
this
don't.
is only
I don't think you know for sure if you want a 9 foot Batman until you try it.
yeah. The thing is I have all these other action figures that I can use as well. Uh, that I don't necessarily like. There's this one, but and this one is pretty tall too. Like this one is tall for an action figure.
Hmm?
Um, but I don't have the right head shape for it. Like if I put this head on it, he's going to appear like he's 5'5". Like we've talked about this before about head
Yeah.
shapes mattering a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Proportions are important. I will say that so that seems like the most extreme of your action figure modifications so far. Like like most of them is like a same size to a same size with, kind of a new paint job. Right, that what you did there looks like it's something. How do I ask? Like it looks like it's out of the mold a little bit.
Yeah.
It looks real thick. I
Oh
didn't.
yeah.
I didn't even know there was a new Batman game coming until you started talking about the
Sorry.
MetaQuest 3.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even realize that, and so then I looked it up, and it looks really cool.
It's funny. I had no intention of of buying this, of buying the new Meta Quest because I'm like, whatever. I already have the Quest 2,
Yeah.
and I do play it and I enjoy it.
Hmm?
Definitely worth the money that I pay for it. And then I was listening to this Batman. Oh, to preface this, I have purchased the new Meta Quest 3S. and I am trading in my MetaQuest 2 solely, mostly solely because I just want to play this new Batman game on, and it's not on the Quest 2, it's only on the Quest 3 and 3S. And so I was listening to this Batman podcast I listened to, it's the only one I used to call Holy Batcast. Um, and they have a bunch of people who write in questions and stuff, and I'm one of them. In fact, I am infamous because I ask them like hard, thoughtful, almost annoying questions sometimes. And they're like, "Man, Chris, this is Chris, aka the Objective Geek," and then they're like, "Ah." But it's a good all.
This
I think it's a good all.
this guy again.
But anyway, a person wrote in asking, telling them about, "Oh, hey, have you played this game?" And they were saying how cool it was and stuff. And I'm like, I might need to buy that game. And also, I just got like a random bonus at work. Not like a yearly bonus. Like my boss, like we have discretionary bonuses I can just get throughout the year, and I got a pretty sizable one just for getting my green belt in Lean Six Sigma. And so I'm like, hey, I got some money.
It'd be more fun if it was your green belt in karate.
Mm.
And they give you like a
They just
discretionary spot bonus. Like, wow, that's so impressive.
yeah. So I got some, and I could trade in. I even thought I went through a lot of different thoughts because my first thought was, do I really need a 3S? Then I eventually got over that hump of yes, buy the $300 one, trade in my 2S for about $100. Sure, that means I don't think of it as I lost $200 because I've had that and I've used it up well enough that I don't feel like
Yeah,
that big
it's like
waste of money.
living in a house. You can't, like, you get the value of the existence of the house and using it.
Yeah.
It's not a stock, you know?
Then to make the purchase even more reasonable for myself, I went down a path of like Prime is getting really good at convincing me I should buy the Prime Visa card because they're now offering like $200 in a Amazon gift card for opening up. I'm like, dang, I could really make this make sense, rationalize this. It would then just be $100, and that's pretty much free because I trade in the two. But I don't need another credit card. I did not. And also, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's 5% back on all your Amazon Prime purchases." And I'm like, "Man, that is
Have a credit card just for Prime purchases. Absolutely.
yeah." But I didn't do it. There's still the option. I can still get the $200 off. But I have one credit card, and I don't really use it that much purposely because I don't use it. And I already have a line of credit with PayPal, which that almost made me. I didn't realize when I opened up I think PayPal switched something at some point because PayPal used to not really be a line of credit. At least I feel like it wasn't, but it absolutely is a line of credit. Because I was getting a loan for something. They were like, "Oh yeah, you have two lines of credit." I was like, "Wait, what line of credit?" And they're like, "Your PayPal." I was like, "Oh, okay." And
I did
that
not know
almost
that it was a line of credit.
yeah,
Nice.
it
I,
technically is.
I do not use the credit part. I just use it to buy stuff on eBay, although eBay accepts Venmo now, which
Oh, they do, huh?
also helpful. But
Yeah.
anyway,
But long story short, I should be getting the new one in, and I'll be playing some Batman Arkham Shadows. I think it's what it's called.
mhm.
So
I just did the like quick YouTube review because I hadn't heard about it or paid any attention to it, and I think it looks great. So hopefully it
yeah.
is in real life. Chris, I can finally see the baby move on the outside on Heather's belly.
Ooh,
So like
that's always so creepy.
it is
It's like
like an episode or like
so creepy.
an alien movie or something like that when they're about to pop out. And so that, and then I've been playing a lot of NBA 2K20, and it turns out that I'm really bad at 2K20, and the only way I've been successful so far is a team of like some of my least favorite NBA players, which is kind of harmful to my psyche. But Gio and I have been playing a lot of different Xbox One games, just like FIFA. He likes soccer, Call of Duty. So weirdly getting into, it feels like going backwards, but getting into a lot of Xbox One stuff at random. And that's been a lot of fun. Other than, I always forget how long stuff takes to load. Like real AAA games, or what were, on their consoles at the time. It feels like everything takes so long. It's so painful. Like a Switch.
Mhm.
I know there's in-game loading, but
Mm.
I don't. I can't think of
That
anything I
man,
play where there's just a
like
ton of it all the time.
man, first time playing Breath of the Wild, it's just like you pick it up, boom,
You're just
and
in
it's
it.
like holy crap. Yeah, PS5 is pretty fast. They don't really have long loading
I've been
times.
playing. I've been playing a little Baldur's Gate 3 on my PC, and my PC is not even. It's not even a great PC, but even that, like the loading time is, the initial load is kind of bad, but then after that, never again. So I don't know, consoles, man. But also worth noting, the Xbox One is, how old is the Xbox One right now? 30, 10 years old. Xbox One 10 years old now,
Oh, okay.
something like
I
that.
I get confused. I thought you were talking about the most recent gen. I get
No,
confused.
no, the stupid Xbox naming conventions.
It is the absolute worst naming convention
It is.
ever. Like someone
Microsoft does not
five.
know how to name shit. November 22nd, 2013. So it's almost 11 years old, or 11 years old, tomorrow from when we're recording. And, good for it. It survives and it's getting some use in my house. But yeah, just been playing some co-op games and one-on-one against each other and stuff. It's been a lot of fun. Chris,
Cool.
I understand you have a fan theory that you would like to explore today.
Yes. The topic of today is what if Katara was the Avatar? Um, and so this fan theory, which is kind of a weird fan theory, I think, but it's a pretty popular fan theory that had Aang lived a fairly normal life, wasn't frozen in ice and things like that. Water being the next element in the cycle, that Katara would be the next Avatar. Full disclosure, I don't like this theory. I never bought into this theory at all. It's not that it's a fun little theory, but like I think people take it too serious, and also doesn't like one thing. It would require Aang to live specifically to Katara's age, where he would die in the exact day that Katara would be born. Um, and also Katara is like just not Aang. It's a weird to me. It's a theory like oh Sokka could have been it. Like who like anyone any water bender in the in that time span of 40 years could have been it. I don't know. It's a
Like the
to me the
foundation of the
theory.
theory isn't doing it for us. Not that's not
Yeah.
plausible. It's just that it's too broad. Like, why is it? Why did we land here other than just that it's Katara?
Right. Granted, I the thing is though is that the reason why we're doing this one of the reasons why we're doing the episode is that I like the theory is fun. I guess I think the theory is fun because it puts Katara in the place of being the main protagonist, and I think Katara could be a really strong protagonist. So from that aspect, I think it's a fun little theory that we can just kind of talk through. And and the for the sake of this will be a little different from our usual what ifs. For the sake of this theory in episode, we're going to assume that Aang gets trapped in the ice and that he oh wait that he just dies at some point. Sean, you can explain how he dies.
Chris, it's a catastrophe. Obviously, the war started by the Fire Nation. All Fire Nation's fault, and all their industrial development has caused global warming. So one of the larger icebergs next to the one that Aang's in, right? Big chunk breaks off, crushes Aang in his iceberg, kills him. That's my new theory. It's a
The
little,
okay.
it's a little gruesome.
The other theory we're shopping is that the iceberg that Aang is in melts to a
It's so
certain point
morbid.
to where like his head is exposed. But you can't have just gotta go all or nothing when it comes to cryo freezing people, and so he just dies from the
He gets
unevenness.
he gets melted down to his nose, right? So he can't breathe, and his eyeballs can see, and it's terrifying.
Yeah,
See, I assume that's so morbid. I also assumed that the Avatar state would kick in. It's like, oh, I can't breathe. I should play some defense here. But it's a
uh,
terrifying, like torturous, thought way to die. Poor Aang. Anyway, Aang dies. We're going that route,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I think is the right choice. Again, not that the other way is bad. Like I understand, and we talked over the concept of, well, Aang didn't get frozen in the iceberg. He just was coincidentally gone when the Airbenders were getting massacred, and he comes back, and then he just lives a normal Avatar life, and that's fine and interesting. But like too broad,
yeah,
too much breath to have to deal with before we would get to the fun part, which would be Katara being the Avatar.
yeah. And then at that point, we will be making up villains and stuff and conflicts for a fairly peaceful world that Katara probably inherit from an Aang who's a fully fledged Avatar. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Aang would most likely have found a way to stop the war, and he would have had 100-year extra head start to work with, and so yeah, we'd be fabricating, Korra 60 years sooner. But probably
yeah,
not with all the technology because the war didn't drag out long enough for the Fire Nation to develop all the technology, so maybe not. Anyway, that's my point. Too big, too broad. Aang dies in the iceberg on the day of Katara's birth because of global warming. I'm sticking to it.
yeah. So let's start there. And full disclosure, more full disclosure, I haven't really thought any. Sometimes I have like a little bit of a thought of like how things progress, and when we start talking, it deviates from that. But right now, I have no real thought. Let's go into the hot and fresh.
You know what I like
Hot
best
and
about
ready.
this theory, Chris?
Well, not ready.
I am ready. What I like best about going this route, too, is that Zuko doesn't know that Aang is dead, so he's still looking for
Exactly.
the last Airbender. He
Yes.
thinks, and then in reality, it's on to the next group.
Yep.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's start rolling.
Let's start with episode 1. The boy not in the iceberg. The dead body in the iceberg.
The dead boy in
Dead
Davy
boy
Jones'
in the ice.
locker.
The dead boy in the iceberg. So the Fire Nation War has still been going on for 100 years. Katara is still Katara. The thing is, every single character, starting off with episode 1, is in the same exact spot they would be in the actual show.
And nobody
So
probably knows that Katara is the Avatar yet.
exactly, yeah,
They're
exactly.
they're in a village where bending isn't super encouraged at a time where you wouldn't want to bend for it. So like nobody knows. I like that actually.
Mhm. So I would say so. Zuko still in the Southern Water Tribe, looking for the Avatar. Um, I would think that the way that he will get noticed to go there is probably still through that ship sending out that flare or whatever it did. Katara is still probably like a little rebellious, like still going on and in these little areas, and she sets off the the booby trap.
Love it. Yeah, makes
Uh,
sense.
yeah.
They just go.
So
They
yeah,
get caught on a current and instead of getting dragged to a dead boy in an iceberg. They go to that ship and they're like, "Well, let's screw around while we're here."
yeah, sure. Um, well, yeah. Saga probably wouldn't. Saga was really adamant about not doing those things, but Katara's more open to it.
But their
And
boat floated away, and they're trying to find something on this old ship that can get them back home.
okay.
Something, something.
Yeah. I'm fine with vagueness stuff. So, Zuko, he would roll up to the Southern Water Tribe, demand to see their elderly, and you know, think about it in this case when Aang didn't show up, he would have continued to threaten, and then probably at this point, so Sokka then fights him, right? And I would think that it will start to get maybe a little bit deadly. So I'm trying to think of a way that Katara is identified as the Avatar.
Would you want it?
Maybe,
Would it come out on day one?
um, sure. I guess.
I think
Oh wait.
so. I think. What do I think? I don't think. I'm just gonna posit a thought process here.
Okay.
Like Steph
Sure.
gets more violent because Aang's not there to be like, "Hey, I'm the Avatar. Here's your moving target." To
Mm.
like Zuko shaking people down extra hard. Does that trigger Katara to like show off some extra spicy bending, some unintentional eye glow? Uh, it's
Yeah, I think I was going down a similar path of like if Sokka's in mortal danger, her emotional avatar state could be triggered. Um, maybe just even. Hmm, I want this to trigger briefly. Man, the thing is, oh crap, or how do they get away? They're kind of stuck. Oh man, I written
also
myself
why.
into.
Yeah, like how do they get away, and or what's their motive for leaving?
Yeah, so I
If
think
if they don't know that she's the Avatar, they wouldn't have any motive for leaving yet. Like even if they fought Zuko off and he went away, but if they didn't know she was the Avatar and they didn't have an Avatar, what would be her motive for going anywhere at all?
the, the way I could see this happening is if her eyes glowed a little, that's enough evidence for Zuko to be like, hey, she might not be what I was looking for, but one, she's a bender in the Southern Water Tribe, and I don't know. I don't know if she's the Avatar or not. Like, but I'm taking her with me. And Katara will probably, to save the village, go with her, and I think they will work out a way that Sokka comes to. Like, no, Sokka has to come, or I'm not coming. Or you could have them take Katara and then go to where like near Kyoshi Island, wherever that the that ship that ship docking of the Fire Nation was at, and then Sokka just slowly follows behind. Um, sure, let's have Sokka slowly follow behind and
Sokka,
make it there.
yeah, Sokka trying to go save her or something.
Yeah, yeah, I think that creates a cool little story of the big brother trying to save his little sister, who is the last hope for the world.
He risks a lot because he's leaving the tribe, in the hands of kids and grand, and he's taking a bunch of supplies because it's a long journey, and it's a big
Yeah.
risk and a point of contention. But grand's like, nope, it's still the right thing to do because
Well,
grand's
and
like, hey, that
also
might be the Avatar shit because grand knows.
also for Sokka, like his mom was killed, his dad went off to war, leaving him in charge. Now his sister's been taken. That's gonna make him a much, I think, a much more driven character. Like Fire Nation has taken everything from him, and he won't let his sister be the last thing that's taken.
I
And
think
also, he promised.
And I think that I'm going to go back to. I think Grand and Zuko both have the suspicion that Katara is actually the Avatar, and they both know the story. They get on pretty quick. Like, oh, her eyes glowed, and she
Yeah,
did some cool bending, and so none of the rest of the village knows or cares. But Grand's like, no, you have to save Katara.
yeah.
I see what happened now. You have to go save her.
All right, so
And,
Sokka,
and then
whenever the
then Aang's dead body just floats past Sokka while he's rowing.
they're gonna be a running joke of just And then like later, you'll see this. You'll see. You know what we could do? We could have the Appa survived.
Oh
Oh,
no! Wait. Okay.
wait,
No.
wait.
No. No. No.
What?
I
Oh,
like
listen.
where this is
We could
going.
we could have the Appa survived. Appa is connected to Aang in a certain way. That I think Appa will even be connected to Aang's, in this case, his future life.
Love it.
So yeah, okay. Here we
Love
go.
it. The iceberg that smashed Aang wasn't big enough to smash Appa and kill him. So Appa mourns for a couple days, right? And then
We gotta even sadder Appa's lost days. We somehow made Appa's lost days sadder than
even
like
worse.
Aang dies and Appa's just on this search to find the Avatar.
And then somehow he and Sokka end up on the same
Yeah,
trail. Maybe Sokka's in dire straits because Sokka's on a little, I already forget what kind of boat you call them. Not a clipper. What do they call
canoe,
it? A canoe?
canoe.
What do they call it?
That's what's
Didn't they call them like ice somethings? Maybe it's just canoe. Anyway, Sokka's in a small canoe, and then he gets into trouble, and that's when he crosses paths with Appa, and and
oh
and and it's distrusting. It because like
yes,
Appa has no reason to trust a giant flying bison
yes.
yet, but something about Sokka being good with, I don't know, why about, just Appa knows who to trust. I'm gonna just vague
Well, yeah. I mean,
animal
they're both
intuition.
like. I mean, they're both like at in the middle of nowhere. Like it's almost this, like you said, there's this trusting thing that builds over time, right? There's a sort of unspoken kind of trust builds.
Yeah, and it works. It works. Yeah, and they're gonna get along great, which is great because now we
Yeah.
get
So
Appa to forward our story even better.
yes, exactly. That does help out because I'm
Appa is a
glad you got
30-foot
here.
plot hole,
He really
a 30
he's
foot
he's a
flying plot hole,
plot. He's a huge plot convenience
literal.
for the actual show. Um, yeah, so Sokka gets almost wrecked, but he gets saved by Appa, or they save each other somehow because Appa's just been looking for companionship. Um, they go and somehow break Katara out. Sokka thinks of a really smart way to break Katara out. I fully believe he could
Yep, down with that.
figure that out.
Well, now he's armed with a flying bison. What, the possibilities are endless.
Ah man, then there'll be a reunion of sorts between Katara and Appa, and that will be kind of a just a. I think she would
And
kind
I
of connect.
think
Oh, and
this is happening. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, there is. It's interesting thinking about Roku's dragon. With Roku's dragon, one thing it's kind of an abnormality. The Roku's dragon became a spirit, but Roku's dragon also has a connection to Aang because there's just this web of connections. Um, I forgot what that theory was called in the Roku book. Harmonies, something about harmonies. Anyway,
I
um,
didn't latch on to a whole lot of the Roku book for better or worse.
I
It
latched
didn't
on
stick,
to Malay to Malay. I didn't even I can
Malaya.
never say her freaking name. Malaya. Okay, she was great. Yato was great. The rest, whatever. That sounded so weird. Sorry. Um. Yeah. So really great reunion
Does this
between.
happen? What you're describing now, this rescue and this reunion happens wherever the Fire Nation docked, still, right? Because then,
Yes.
when they're making their escape, that's when they land on, somehow or other, they land on or are drawn to Kyoshi Island.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That works.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Sorry. What was that? Okay. Um. Crap. 1 second. My bad. All right. Yes. So they'll work their way to Kyoshi Island. Like even the reasoning for Aang going there, they'll somehow make their way to Kyoshi Island. It's probably just the closest. They need to go find a map. Or something. Sokka's like, I need a freaking map.
it's their
He needs to
closest haven, and they're drawn to it, and that's
go.
what
Yeah.
they get.
So at what point are they convinced that Katara is the Avatar? I would think maybe in that escape, maybe the Avatar state is triggered somehow.
What if either that or they get to Kyoshi Island and she, gets to this place that reveres a former avatar, and then we get another eye glow experience? I feel like there's a
Well, now
couple
you're venturing.
opportunities in there.
Well, now you're venturing on the live action turf,
No, I am
Sean.
not. You stop it. I'm
That
not.
that happened.
It's still garbage.
That
Not
happened.
not the whole show. Just the Kyoshi. Listen, I understand from a coolness standpoint why people, including yourself, like it. I just hate the lore involved with the shrines being like a trigger,
I,
a proximity
hey, you.
trigger.
I feel like you're venturing over there of being.
No more than like when he goes to Roku Island so he can have a better connection with Roku. Is it? And that kind of same?
Um. Yeah, I mean, there's winter solstice and
Yeah.
stuff.
I feel like there's foundation for
But
it. Anyway,
yeah.
there's a couple opportunities in there for people, including Sokka and or herself, to be like, "Oh shit, I like Katara really is the Avatar."
Let's see. The next element she would bend in the cycle would be Earth. Um, but Aang did bend air until. I'm sorry, Aang did bend water. Aang was picked up water really
Pretty
quickly.
early.
And I can see Katara being able to. There's a certain stubbornness in Katara that lends itself to earthbending. So maybe she earthbend something to display that she is the Avatar. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Avatar state itself.
Yeah,
That does that.
didn't have to be that obvious. It didn't. Is
Yeah.
Aang's first waterbending that we see like taking the glacier half off and crushing the ship? Is that the first time we see him waterbend in any
Mm.
way,
Um.
or is that just airbending? Did he
First
just?
time-
Oh, he just whipped the air up in the air. Like he just
you talking about-
rerouted a fireball.
Man, Aang's first time waterbending. Waterbending scroll.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what's that like
that's
episode
probably
8, something like that, 7?
something like that. Yeah. Because Katara was trying to do it and then he did it
Yeah,
real quick.
what a jerk!
Yeah.
How dare he?
He's not here anymore. We're not to worry about him.
Wait, he doesn't have feelings. He's dead.
Dead episode 1. Dead boy in the iceberg.
It would be weird to name
The-
an episode
the
of a
dead-
show about a character who will not be appearing in the show. It's kind of dark.
Okay. Kyoshi Island stuff. Probably, Katara learns more about Kyoshi and stuff. Gets inspired by that. It
Bend some earth.
probably, yeah. It probably happens. Man, the thing about Katara though is that she needs a freaking master. Like, she's not great at waterbending yet, even at this point, and she's definitely not great at Earth. Their goal, probably after getting whatever information they need, getting any type of direction, is probably go straight to the Northern Water Tribe. And so, yeah, after Kyoshi Island, I mean, they would head that way. They have no reason to go to Ba Sing Se unless it's for like, yeah, Aang really didn't. Why did they go there? I think just because Aang just wanted to go see his friend. Aang just wanted to ride the slides. That's right.
Yeah, so just Omashu.
The shoots. I said, why do I do this? I do this all the time. I want to say Omashu when I say Ba Sing Se sometimes.
I just like the name of the town Omashu better. Just rolls off the tongue better, I feel like.
Both. I probably would like Omashu better, mostly because of the history of it. Oma and Shu. That's yeah.
Good
I think Ba Sing
music.
Se has
Good music.
Ba Sing Se should change their name actually. So, Even um, okay, they don't go to Omashi because Katara has no real need or desire to go there. But Zuko will still be tracking them. They have to stop at places, of course, just for rest and stuff.
Sure.
To fuel up. Where, man, what's the next step that we would?
I think there'd just be like a natural progression of stops until they got to the northern water tribe.
I
And
think so too.
they might be
To stop.
less. They might be a little less like interesting than some of Aang's stops, but we're not trying to recreate Aang's stories. I think it would just be the next thing she do. Is like I
Yeah,
gotta find some living waterbenders.
yeah, there'll be stops and conflicts with Zuko and stuff. I will say, Sean, and I'm not trying to go down this path, but this is the path that a lot of people probably think this show would go. Having a waterbending protagonist and a firebending antagonist who will turn into a good guy. There's a certain ship that would honestly have a good chance of coming to fruition.
I mean, it makes more sense here,
Oh, okay, just
right?
your reaction. I'm surprised by that.
We've already wandered down
I
this
thought you were going to like.
nonsense path. Why not?
Okay. Um. All right. So yeah, I mean that could be the. I wouldn't say the end game. The thing is that also, hmm, man, that's interesting actually. So all right, so we go to the Northern Water Tribe. Um, Zuko has to track down Katara. She that would be you know what would be interesting conflict is what does Master Paku do? Like, all right, the Avatar has to be freaking trained. Like, what did Northern Water Tribe female avatars do? Did they just get an exception? That'd be kind of a weird exception.
I bet they leave with like a team avatar, or it hasn't happened that it was a northern water tribe and a female in a couple of cycles, right? So they're like, oh, we just haven't had to deal with it in recent memory, you know.
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna say we can keep it vague, and that Master Paku is still being kind of an asshole about it, even though it's like a clear right answer. I mean, there's a clear right
Yeah,
answer anyway already, but like he's still being a surprising amount of jackass about it.
yeah. I mean, it's the world is at war. The Avatar is back. The Avatar needs to be trained. The Avatar has no training at all in anything. It she needs to be trained
And he's like, well, you can
in
go
water.
be trained in water bending healing, just like the other Northern Water Tribe ladies. You think you're special. And she's like, I am special. I'm the Avatar. And then they fight. And then because she's the Avatar, she kills him. Another dead
Okay.
body floating. Okay, scratch that.
Uh,
That's too strong. That's too strong.
no. Oh, you know what we kind of crossed over? Do you think anything would happen with Jet?
Yes, they would have some kind of limited skirmish with Jet in one of their pit stops. And then
Okay.
Jet, now it's a bigger deal because now her how am I trying to say this? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a lesser deal, but like he really pushes the opportunities. Like, no, I got to get the Avatar to see my side and start cutting people down. And she's a girl, so I'll use my natural Jet charms.
It's natural riz, as the
His
kids
natural
say.
his he's got drip for days, and um and then how far? And then Katara's naive, and she's got no training, philosophical or physical, right? So she still doesn't understand how she feels. She knows Fire Nation bad, so she could still be in this mindset of like, oh, he's pretty strong on the anti-Fire Nation. Let's hear him out, and then oh shit, he's just gonna kill a bunch of people.
Yeah.
It could work out similar-ish. I think that
Yeah.
I think that something still happens, and then Jet's still wrong and bad, and Katara gets over him pretty quick.
Mhm. The other thing that we can quickly gloss over is that I'm sure that somehow Katara would still know to go find Roku and get get that information dump of here's the comment, here's the comment, because they have Appa. Appa still allows that access to
Mhm.
go sneak into the Fire Nation and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what. I'm not sure what prompts that. We can, maybe it's a. I don't know.
It could be the same thing. Like Roku sent his dragon to go touch Aang on the winter solstice, and that's how Aang got that vision
Yeah.
to the to go to the Roku's island.
And you know what else I kind of do? I keep saying like about it, and I don't mean like about the overall theory, but the story we're crafting is that Aang, having died when he was really young, probably doesn't have a ton of wisdom to offer as an avatar. So eventually they meet up,
He's
and she's like looking for wisdom. He's like, "How the hell am I supposed to know?"
yeah. He's almost like when you said that I went immediately to like a ghost like Casper. Like there's this
Yeah.
dead kid who's like he's
He.
just a kid. He knows
Mhm.
nothing, and he tells me stuff every now and then, but he's really not much. You
Very limited help. But it would still be
yeah
cool, like the first time she met him, she's like,
yeah
"Oh, I can interact with my past lives," and then she's like, "I need a different past life that knows more stuff." And then Aang's like, "Oh, well, you should go," because Aang does have the knowledge. Aang's like, "Oh, well, you should go visit Roku. He was the Avatar when the war started. Maybe he'll know some stuff."
hmm
And then that's the amount of utility that Aang, as a past life, has to offer. Is like the
what
academic
yeah.
knowledge that she doesn't have.
You know what I think? What his use could be is that as Katara is probably much more tarnished than Aang. Like even in the show, and she's much
Yeah,
more jagged, a little bit more. She's not as optimistic or hopeful.
because her life has been
Or
hard from the beginning.
yes, yeah.
Aang
And
was
so I
Aang
think
adopted the darkness. Katara was born into it.
yeah. And so what I think what Aang can provide story wise is this. Even though he's dead,
Did we
he
mention
provides
that? Did
this.
we mention that he is real dead? He's just
He provides this anchor of innocence that even though
ooh.
he's he is her northern star, like no matter how jagged and stuff she gets, she looks at her past life of he still has optimism, he still has hope in me, he still believes that the world can be better than what I even
He's
experienced.
a conscience from time to time,
Yeah,
and
what they call it,
maybe
Jiminy Cricket.
can I? Yeah, can I introduce some like mild headcanon here and to say that
Okay.
maybe she has small but more frequent interactions with Aang because she's on Appa. There's like a sense of that same connection that Kyoshi Island or
Um,
Crescent Island and all that stuff.
and I am vibing with that. Yeah.
She gets like more frequent pop-ins from her
Funny
conscience.
because yeah, so we kind of that's a weirdly interesting story because it's because right, like we think of Team Avatar in the first season, it's Sokka, Katara, and Aang, and even now in this, it's still Sokka, Katara, and Aang, but the dynamics have like switched to a point
Mhm.
where only Katara can see Aang, and Aang talks like every now and then and stuff. He's not there all the time,
Yeah,
of course, but and like as weird as Sokka being this person who is like not into spiritual stuff, he's like, Katara, you're talking to yourself again.
just like
And
the
then she's like,
TV
I'm not
show
talking to
Ghosts, just like that.
yeah.
It's
We created ghosts.
it's a really interesting story in the sense of like still not
Now
so
episode one has to be called Dead Boy in the Iceberg
has
because
to.
he still becomes a pretty important character.
He does. I
But
love
Dead
it.
Boy in the Iceberg becomes important.
We're running with it. And that's the episode 2 title is Dead Boy in the Iceberg Part 2 becomes important. The It's interesting. We're crafting what I think is an interesting story here, but
No
still in
other
the
podcast
way.
listen, no other podcast, Avatar podcast, is doing these types of episodes. This you just
Dead Boy
this
in
is
the
exclusive stuff.
Iceberg. Chris, you gotta drop Kitsune immediately. We gotta write this dead boy stuff. It's interesting in the way of like, just because I'm on a Batman thought process right now of it wouldn't stand alone as well as like current Avatar does, but it's like a riff of the same story but in a different way. I'm trying to think. I don't know
Yeah,
my Batman comics well enough, but it's like, all right, well, you got your like normal Batman, your Frank Miller Batman or whatever, and then over here you've got this different absurd take, but it's only interesting because
yeah.
it's so absurdly different than the
Well, that's
original
what
that we know and love.
this new Batman is kind of about. Like, this is a Batman whose mom, whose dad died at the zoo and was covered in bats, and and his mom survived, and his best friends are like most of his villains and stuff. It's such obscure. Also, he's 7 foot tall, like 300 pounds. So yeah,
It's like part of its interest is that it's absurdly different, but from a still known commodity, not as
yeah,
like a
yeah.
standalone
Yeah, this is
thing
gonna be our
on its
next
own.
Avatar project. The dead boy and the
The
iceberg and the and the Avatar. Because Katara is the main character, it would be called the Avatar and the dead boy and the iceberg. And Avatar fans will get it. They wouldn't get it immediately. They'd be like, "What the heck
what
does
is
this
this?
mean? Avatar and the dead boy and the iceberg? Isn't Aang the dead boy? Wait, why is Aang? Isn't
Was it?
Aang the boy in the iceberg? And why is he dead?
Somebody shared with me, and I think I shared it with you, but it's been a little while. It was like the first page of the first Harry Potter book, but written in like, I don't even know what, are we on Gen Z? Like written in like Gen Z meme shorthand. So the title, instead of The Boy Who Lived, it was The Boy Who Wasn't Unalived. And it was the
Oh
whole, it was
man.
just the first page, but it was entirely written like that, and it's pretty fantastic. Oh, okay. So
Uh,
they get to Crescent Isle and has kind of a similar-ish uh, process that Aang does on. I say Crescent, not Crescent Isle. Is it Crescent Isle or is it Roku Isle?
it is. Yeah, it's Crescent
Crescent
Island. Yeah.
Isle, and it's a similar. It plays out similarly to how it plays out in the regular show. And then after that, they get up to the Northern Water Tribe with other adventures kind of intact. And then Paku is maybe still kind of a jackass.
Hmm. At some point, well, we shouldn't go over every single plot point. Never mind. We're not gonna go over every single plot point because we'll be here for too. I was about to go over the blue
We've already been
spirit and
talking about
stuff.
this
Um,
longer than I expected. I didn't even
yeah.
think we would get to this level of depth.
Let's just say at some point to feed the Zutara is the blue spirit breaks
I think you have to.
Katara out of. Yeah.
I think, yep, we'll leave it vague, but I think that has to exist just to entice that audience.
Yeah.
So how's the finale of season 1 go? Right? Does it's still probably Zuko kind of having given away the Avatar's existence to Zhao and the giant siege on the Northern Water Tribe?
Yeah, that still happens.
I suppose a lot of that
Um,
stuff could still happen, right? Like even down to the
yeah.
the the moon spirit dying would be even more wicked because it'd be a native waterbender. That'd be even
Mm.
wilder,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
right? Like
Oh
that's gonna
man,
hit
a
Katara.
chance for yeah, a chance for Katara's native element that she's been almost hiding her whole life, been told to hide her whole life, is now just in full fledged.
Yes,
Just yeah, Magic Katara in the middle of the ocean spirit. That is yeah, that visually, that's freaking cool.
love it. Love it that she's been hiding it her whole life. Now she's looking for a master. She finds one. He's a jackass, and then the moon spirit dies, and then she can't control it. It all comes out, and it's beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Love it.
Yeah,
So a lot of that can kind of hold, not the same, obviously it's a different protagonist, but like a similar trajectory can hold.
yeah, yeah. It yeah, I think so. Um, going into book
Can't stop
two.
thinking of Aang as like he is like a perfect Casper, like kind of goofing off, optimistic, positive,
Yeah,
not very helpful, but you like having him around.
It's I don't know why I went straight to Casper,
No, it's a
but it
great.
worked.
It's a tremendous fit.
Book two. Okay, Katara learns about the Avatar state. I'm sure from Roku, not Aang, because Aang doesn't know anything about the
Yeah,
Avatar state. They don't go to the K2 lovers. So at this point, she's mastered waterbending enough. Yeah, yeah, she's a
Mhm.
freaking prodigy. She was a master in the show.
I mean, it maybe took her a hair longer because she didn't get as much inherent practice along the way, but she figures it out. She's fine.
Yeah. So now she's on the search for an earthbending master. She probably Paku, probably knowing that he's in White Lotus, Boom's in White Lotus, tells her to go to King Boomy. Also, it's a freaking fortress.
Hmm?
That's still taken over. Boomy still tells her she needs to go find, the person who waits and listens before attacking.
Yeah, love it.
Um, and they go to the swamp. Probably some really cool, interesting stuff in the swamp. Like she probably has flashbacks to her mom, like knowing she's the Avatar and stuff, or feeling she's special. Maybe I don't know, just little added
Yeah, maybe
for you.
Avatar Katara is onto their game like right away. She's like, no, that's stupid. They're just it's just a water bender behind some grass.
Yeah. Uh, and then
Uh,
they go and find.
Momo's kind of an important plot point in the swamp episode. I think that in what we've established so far, Momo could be alive, but not necessarily with him. He could be. Maybe he's not. Maybe he is. I don't know.
I mean, maybe they go to the southern. Oh yeah, we missed that part. They never go to the southern water tribe
I
because
guess
they
they.
don't really have any.
I guess they still could. The Southern Air Temple.
Yes, my
They still
bad.
could.
Southern.
Aang could be like, I gotta know.
True.
They could.
True. Yes. Momo tags along. Yeah,
Sure. All
there
right,
we go.
Momo's there. Canon. It's write it down.
um, I'm so curious to hear anyone's reaction to this story. This is our absolute most far fetched story,
It's the most far
and
fetched story, but so far very little has actually changed in trajectory from the original story.
and that is even better. That's
It's,
weird.
it's simultaneously far fetched and not different.
Yeah. Um, they go pick up Toph. Same stuff really happens. And yeah, we'll just say the same stuff happens. Because Toph is feeling repressed and stuff. There might be a whole growth. Toph might get inspired by Katara, like because Katara's been repressed her whole life. Katara's like, "This is your opportunity. Like, I know how you feel to feel like you got to cage that person
Yeah.
inside you, but like with me, you don't have to feel that way. Like with us, like be yourself."
Or
Uh,
well, not or, but also like even if they have their doubts, Avatar, the past life Aang is like, no, like give it a chance. This feels right. And then Toph's like,
yeah,
who are you talking to? And oh shit, I didn't hear you there, Toph. Because remember, nobody else can see Aang, and that's an important plot point at
but
some point.
yeah, but Toph either thinks she's really crazy or that she's telling the truth because Toph can tell if someone's telling the truth or not.
Hmm? But that scares Toph more. Toph's like, no, she thinks she's talking to somebody. She believes it. And then Toph's like,
Yeah.
shit, is this what I need to sign up for right now? But she
There-
does it anyway
there were-
because of the kindred, like what you just said, the kindred spirits of being repressed their whole life. She tags
yeah.
along anyway.
There would have to be, I think, some plot point where Aang feels like he can let go and doesn't have to tag along all the time. Like it's going to be like this scene where Aang appears to everyone, right? And everyone's like, "Oh man, you've been with us this whole time." Aang's like, "You know what? It's time for me to like Katara. Like you got it from here." Like they all believe her, but like it's this like Aang leaves it all up to her now. I don't know when that
It's
happened.
gonna be it's gonna be like coming of Avatar age story where it's Katara trying to make her own choice as her own avatar, and
Yeah,
there's like a conflict in there between the avatar she thinks she needs to be and the avatar that Aang thinks she needs to be, and it'll
yeah,
be a peaceful breakup, but it will be a breakup.
yeah, yeah. All right. We haven't talked much about Zuko going along here, but at this point, Zuko is on the run
Doing
and
his
stuff like
thing.
that, doing the Zuko alone stuff. Um, Azula has come in here. She's also chasing down them, and yeah. um,
And part of the breakup can be before or after like the Appa's lost days bit, right? Because then she doesn't have Appa nearby to have that connection with him, and then when he comes back and crossroads of destiny or whatever, and they have some conflict there when she's reconnected with him, and she's like, you know what, I do need to like be my own avatar.
yeah. All right. Okay. So from that point, they meet Toph. Toph trains her, and then they went to the spirit library purposely because Sokka wanted to go. They'll still go to the spirit library, and they get out. We'll get out somehow. But the thing is, if they're stuck in the middle of the desert without Aang, because Aang is the one that blows them out, or you
It
can just
just
make
doesn't.
up
It
that
just doesn't
Katara.
progress that far. They
Yeah.
ditch sooner, you know. And
Okay.
also, Katara is more aggressive than Aang. You know, Aang trying to evade big scary bird. Katara like fighting back a little bit, and
Yeah.
they escape differently.
Okay. Um. So at this point, we're still doing Office Lost Days
Yeah, I think all that stuff can
again.
still kind of happen.
Okay. So they still go to Boston say. Um. Okay. There has to be some where there's a difference. Katara. Hmm. She probably still needs to figure out the master of the Avatar state, and probably still goes to see Guru Patik. Maybe.
I the Guru Patik maybe doesn't fit as well because she's not an air nomad, so maybe she's not.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, that part really doesn't even. Whatever.
I guess it's
We can.
not. Nah, it doesn't seem as innate, but I suppose it would still happen in the same order in that way. But she's not in love with
Yeah.
anybody, so then the last chakra, like, does she have her anchor?
I wonder if. So now we're in Bossing Say. How does Bossing Say end? Uh, I mean, it can't end with her almost being killed because there's no one to heal her. um, Bossing Say. I think it comes down to if we've been building in this story this Sutara. Wow, this is the most we've been pro Sutara ever. If we've been building
In
this,
this
will they, won't
fictional universe where we're pro Zutara,
they? Jamie, we proud of us.
this,
Um, that one listener somehow who left the review somehow finds this and be like, "Damn it, they're
by
back."
gum, they've done it.
They're they.
You, what's the Rick and Morty meme? The you son of a bitch, I'm in.
I'm yeah. So if we've been building this, will they, won't they kind of deal? Does when Zuko is given that opportunity to betray Team Avatar, and we're talking in a vague sense because it'll take a while to think about the specific things. But he gets into a point where he can side with the Zula or side with Team Avatar. What does he do at this point? We don't have to follow what the show did.
I think that they're. You know what? Let's buy in, Chris. Let's Zuko at the crossroads of destiny, and he still had to undergo all this metamorphosis and such. And we'll say that if we were writing this story, we would make sure it still like had you on a hook for a little bit. That
Yeah.
maybe we don't know that he cares so much about her that he does stay on that side and stay on that course of good and helps Katara, helps her get out of there.
Okay, so you're saying he sides with Team Avatar?
Yeah, he makes the choice
Right.
for good sooner. I'm trying to
Yeah.
decide. This is good in the sense that we finally have like a different path going forward, but it might be less interesting because nobody would expect her to be dead.
That's okay. That
In
wasn't
the
to me. That wasn't like a huge part of book three of Aang's being dead.
it
Um,
didn't have a huge payoff, I don't suppose.
yeah, they could have just been high now, and it would have been the same kind of difference. The thing I do like about story wise this is that Zuko lost his mother, and there's a certain you could connect Princess Ursa, Zuko's mother, to Katara, right? Like they might have similar attributes that Zuko sees. Like maybe Katara is believes in him, and well, not believes in him. Sure, maybe Katara sees something in him that reminds him of his mom. So there's a connection there, and that probably gets him to turn to Team Avatar quicker than it did before. If we're building up this relationship throughout, I won't say a lot, but if we're building up this will they won't they throughout season one and two, then maybe that takes it over the fence with that. Not saying they go full Zutara in the end of book two, but it's like, all right, I'm somewhat reformed. I'm
There's still
trying.
there's still a good point of conflict there of like he might be on the side of good and he has Iroh like nudging him along, but she still has like serious trust issues with him even after
Yeah,
all that.
yeah,
Knowing his relationship with his father and with Azula, so that like he can still have to. There can still be conflict there of her having to win his trust, and that keeping him from being like a full team Avatar ready to rock and roll right away in season three.
yeah. All right. So then we get into season three. Azula probably still takes over, like because we don't have Aang. Like Aang being away in this fight does. No matter if Zuko joins, it does make the fight a lot harder. Although, what's the math at? I think the math is mathing in a way that Azula could probably still take over Bossy, say, or not. It matters all that much.
I think she would still find a way to do that,
Okay,
and that would be
I'm
high
fine.
in her list of priorities in the larger war.
Okay, so season three picks up with Zuko in Team Avatar. Aang Ghost probably still around, and it's funny because if Aang Ghost is around, there isn't because he's a ghost. I don't think there is this like will they won't they between Aang and Katara.
Well, and he's a ghost because he's dead, and I just want
Yeah,
to point that out
in case you guys didn't know, Aang
in
is
case you didn't
dead.
know. I just making sure.
His ghost is here. His body is still floating in the water. So
It's just buttoned up against a piece of ice, right? Like it's a current just running his little dome softly over and over into a piece of ice for eternity.
uh, um, so book book three, they're kind of somewhat on the run, keeping it low key. Um, Zuko, right? You don't need that. The main reason why Aang being thought of dead, the biggest thing that it did in the original show was have able to have Zuko go back home because he killed the Avatar, and
Now
so
we
that's
don't need
not an
that.
issue
Yeah,
here. Yeah.
love it.
Uh, Still throw the painted lady in there just because. In fact, it's even more important now because Sokka's like, we have to stay hidden, and Katara's like, I will never
And
ever turn my back on people who need me.
well, now Sokka and Zuko both are like, no, we have to go. Like we are on a schedule that's very serious. Where she's trying to be a good avatar more than a warlord.
Yes, yeah,
I think that presents great conflict.
yeah. And then you also get this for those also Zutara shippers. I'm gonna market this as this is the episode for the Zutara shippers out there. But
This
you
is
get
for
this.
all you Zutara shippers out there.
You get this, at the in the episode of Painted Lady, Katara goes undercover as Painted Lady, and then Aang joins her to wreck shop and stuff. In this case, Zuko joins her as the Blue Spirit, and they go and wreck shop and stuff on stuff. There's like so much fan art and stuff of the Painted Lady and the Blue Spirit. So shout
Perfect.
out to that. Yeah.
Perfect. Just how we drew it up, why we did for this reason.
Yep. And then they still go on the day of Black Sun to go invade the Fire Nation because they got that information. Hmm. Can they end it on the day of Black Sun? No, it probably goes. Azula's still steps ahead of them, and they probably still lose the day of Black Sun. And yeah, it'll probably yeah. It just vaguely it ends kind of the same. They all leave it back on Nappa. Right? You don't think? Yeah, you think that's probably how Dave Black Sun goes?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't
Uh,
see a strong reason to differentiate from the
yeah,
existing path.
yeah. You could have them like if Katara and Zuko are trying to go in and um find where Fire Lord Ozai's at. They split up. Zuko ends up confronting his dad because he finds his dad's war room where his dad is at. You still get that Zuko confrontation moment.
Yeah.
Katara and whoever else is still trying to pin down Azula for information. They don't get it, but then they get out alive.
Yeah.
There will be an
That all
interesting
seems
reunion between. I forgot about this at probably the beginning of book 3. There is an interesting reunion between Hakoda and Katara, like just that, probably similar to Korra, like that father daughter. Like wow, like I left the
you
world. I
really know
left
how
you
to
to go
pick your
save the
boyfriends, daughter.
world. No, not hell yeah. But it'll be interesting of like Hakoda being so proud of her and always knowing that she had always believing in her, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then Katara probably still learns bloodbending. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
Because it's cool.
yeah, she will be learning firebending, which would be really interesting for like that being the next element. Fire, she would hate firebending the most, I think, because firebenders have taken. Oh man, that's interesting because that would be interesting chakra to try to open up, or fire chakra if she still did that, but not important. Just the concept herself of learning firebending while she has associated fire with everything wrong in her life. Like fire took her mother, fire's been raging this war. So it'll be even more impactful for her to learn the true essence of Fire Nation from the dragons.
Mm, that's awesome.
Although they don't have a at some point they'll go meet the dragons because Zuko will still have that conflict in him. So whenever they do that, it probably won't be in the same point in time, but they'll still need to go see the dragons. All right, and
I'd be very
then
sad if they didn't.
no real reason to go see the Southern Raiders, because she would still trust Zuko at this point, unless
I mean,
unless she has some type of inner turmoil
that could
that
fit in
Zuko's like, I think I
their
can help.
that could fit in their trajectory somewhere, but it wouldn't have to.
True. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That could be earlier in book 3. All right. We never get introduced to Sparky Sparky Boom Man though, because Zuko never sent them as assassin after him, and that's fine. So the big thing though, Shawn, is that we get to the finale, right? Probably.
Yes.
And there'll still be an Agni Kai between uh Azula and Zuko. And with Az- Katara not being there, Zuko would win it. Because Boiling Rock definitely still happens because Katara wasn't involved in that at all, and Hakoda will still be captured and stuff. Um, oh man, that's even more bizarre stuff. Like Zuko saved her dad, and and anyway, um, it's just so ironic us leaning into Zutara. Oh,
Well, we have to now. We've come too far. We've come too far.
sure. All right, so get to the finale, and the biggest difference. Oh, at some point she needs to learn airbending. Yes.
That's
How
gonna
does
be
she learn?
that's gonna be tricky.
That's
Maybe she has to go be by Guru Patik,
well,
just to
it's gonna.
absorb some like meditation air nomad things that then like lead her down a path of okay, I kind of understand how to airbend.
Hmm. Ghost Hang maybe could help. It's
Ghosting.
interesting because I haven't seen him in a while. It's interesting because Kyoshi learned airbending with no airbending teacher. Like it was kind of just like feeling it, and then she eventually learned how to really do it. But I think after she learns Earth and Fire, she'll probably have to take a trip. Maybe Ghost Hang is like, hey, go to the Western Air Temple or something. Like that would just get you more in tune with things. With just airbending, maybe something like that. But I think Ghost Aang could like lend a hand. She could I think know firebending as well as Aang knew. I'm sorry, she could know airbending close to enough how Aang knew firebending. I think by this, like Aang
Yeah.
wasn't great at firebending.
I think, like I said, I
Then
think
great.
there could be like a switch that she hasn't flipped yet, but if she went and spent some time with Guru Pratik and just generally learned about meditation and about
Yeah,
chakras, and it's like it like planted the seed of airbending, and then at some point, Ghost Aang helps her like flip that switch and actually like, oh, there it is.
yeah. All right, so she learns
And then,
airbending.
and then Ghost Aang's like, you're not gonna kill him, right?
That's going to be the biggest thing. Her conscience is Aang in this point. So you get to the fight. Sozin's Comet. Uh, Suki, Toph, and Sokka go out to the airships. Zuko goes to um, Zuko goes to fight Azula and Agni Kai. I'm still gonna think that Iroh's still doing his. Iroh still probably got captured in Ba Sing Se, and his stuff goes down a similar path probably. But Katara probably doesn't have that dilemma. She definitely doesn't have that dilemma of killing Ozai, so she doesn't go meet the lion turtle. So, but she gets in the fight with Ozai. Is her avatar state? She hasn't mastered the avatar state. I wouldn't think. I would think even if Guru Pratik tried to teach her, there's some type of block there that she can't. Maybe she can't get rid of that guilt or that weight of loss around her mother being killed. You can go with that for motivation or something. Um, so she has mastered the avatar state, and she gets in a fight with Ozai, who has the comet. Although, would they wait for the comet? They would probably still wait for the comet because Azuko wouldn't know the plan. Mm, whatever. I don't have to figure out exactly what gets them there, but eventually they'll go to the Fire Nation during the comet.
Yeah.
Yeah, she fights Ozai. She'll win because the Avatar state will be triggered somehow, but she'll still be conflicting. I think she goes into it like I didn't kill my mother's killer. I still don't think she kills her mother killer. But this mother effort, Ozai, Aang, I'm gonna kill him. Right? And then Aang is that consciousness behind her, like, no, Katara, like you don't have to like killing him isn't gonna solve. Does she? She'll trigger the Avatar state somehow, whether it's defense mechanism or she breaks through some type of mental barrier or spiritual barrier, something. But I think
Chris,
she'll get to a
nope.
point of
I've got it, Chris.
okay.
She blood bends the bending out of him, Amon style.
Ah, that's interesting. Okay, so she doesn't kill him, but she does use bloodbending that she learned from Hama, and she does it in a way that's not like yeah.
Like blood bends his chakras closed or whatever it is. I forget how they explain Amon doing it. And she essentially founds that idea for our bad guy, for our next bad guy, even though it won't be Korra, but you know, the next bad guy in the next era.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, she's the Avatar. While Amon, the reason why Amon knows how bloodbending is that he knows how to chi block. He knows chi paths. Although Katara probably still learns healing from the Northern Water tribes. Also, she
Yeah,
would
she's
understand
got
chi
she's
paths.
got all
But
three sides. She, like I said, she learned about chakras from Patik and the healing
yeah,
and the blood bendings. Like she's ready to
yeah.
shut off
Hey,
some bending.
I am. I'm with it.
It makes
Yeah,
as much
but
sense as energy bending. I feel like.
it does. That's the thing is that it does. Um,
Look at this, Chris. We've talked ourselves into it.
and the show ends with Katara defeating Fire Lord Ozai by not killing him, getting over her grief and her anger, and yeah, Katara probably is more angry version of Katara than in the show, like slightly more angry.
I think so. I
Not
think
yeah,
I think
and
she's put through a lot more emotionally, right? Just like having to forge a path as an avatar on top of all the regular Katara things. I think that's fair.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
We've done it.
That's how the story ends. This story honestly is way better and more interesting than I thought it would be going into it.
Same. You theorists, you have convinced me that it is an interesting, fun theory to talk about and explore. You did it. Way to go. It lasted longer than I thought. I didn't think we would be able to come up with that much like an interesting path to follow, but it did. Chris,
Yeah. Oh, holy crap! We've been talking for a while.
yeah, because it just was rolling. The idea was we're flowing. Drop Kitsune immediately. We got to do this
Yeah.
parallel universe nonsense right here, where Aang, where Aang
The
gets
the
unalived,
Avatar and the dead boy in the
and the
iceberg.
Deadpool, the boy who didn't live. It's great. I love it. Chris, thanks for the episode idea and theorists and headcanoniers out there. Thanks for the idea. My name's Shawn. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter. And if you want to leave us thumbs ups or bells or subscriptions or whatever, we would love that. Any of those positive interactions are great. We appreciate them. I'll put more details down in the description below. And thanks for watching Avatar: The Last Podcasters. It's been a blast.
Goodbye.